You can find all sorts of things on the web. It is enormous and full to the brim of information, entertainment, services, and more. But with all good things come bad ones, and the internet is no different. There are some very dark places in cyberland, places you won't find on Google, and often are outside the radar of law enforcement too. Here today we have 7 of the darkest. Number 1. We're not saying that illegal content can only be found on the deep web. There's plenty in more ordinary places, but as the name suggests, the deep web is a good place to hide stuff, and so there are loads of bad things there. So much so, it's not hard to see why people are saying that these underground networks should be taken down and a fully regulated ClearNet established instead. The issues arise, however, that switching off services such as Freenet and Tor would not bring about any positives, but it would create all sorts of negatives. It also wouldn't make much difference, as there are various other ways that criminals can use the internet to communicate anonymously, such as using botnets, which have been the source of literally millions of criminal hacks on innocent users. They are primarily used by groups who provide spammers with enormous networks and complete privacy. The Russian Business Network is one such group, renting the botnet out and earning money for doing so. You don't have to delve too deeply to be anonymous on the internet either. Just tapping into a public network is a way of hiding who and where you are. Number 2. The Silk Road is really no secret from the public due to the massive media coverage it has received. There are a number of legislators on the case searching for methods to close it down. For those of you who do not know what the Silk Road is, it's basically an underground eBay where users remain anonymous. You can imagine the sort of things that are traded on there, can't you? Buyers still leave feedback, but goods are bought using bitcoins. The name of the site harks back to the ancient routes across Eastern Europe, Africa, the Middle East, and Asia, with the silk referring to China specifically, the developer, or most of the routes. Chinese silk was one of the most widely traded items across the routes. Number 3. Oh wow. This one really is something else. Here we have a forum for cannibals, with popular topics including eating human beings and being eaten by them. It was surprisingly popular until it was taken down by the government in Germany. The forum was used to plan meetings between like-minded people, where they would turn up in order to eat one another. Yes, it's real. These people actually wanted to be eaten. Strange stuff indeed. Number 4. Anyone looking for a hitman? Well, Tor is the place to go if you are. That is, if you can work out how to work it. Surprisingly, the cost for hiring a hitman seems to be pretty regulated, almost as though there's some sort of agreement between the Hitman For Hire. How much, you say? A hitman goes for approximately $20,000. Yes, that's all it costs to have someone killed. The FBI have collected data on the subject, and prices range from just over $500 to up around $25,000. A couple of the hitmen used in the study actually had a fee scale depending on who they had to bump off. A regular person would cost about $20,000, whereas someone of more significance, say a police officer or high-key journalist, could cost up to $100,000. There is even an agreement in some cases where a hitman will do away with a rich partner for a fee based on how rich that partner is. Who knew? Number 5. Really, this is absolutely true. You absolutely are on the deep web. No kidding. There are actually things constructed from human skin available online for people to buy. Why have cow when you can have human? We're not entirely sure what this is all about, but if the products are for sale, it must mean there's a market for them. Number 6. It doesn't take much searching on the deep web forums before you'll come across threads referring to human experimentation. In fact, they're really quite common. On closer inspection, the links and websites on these forums don't actually exist, and it's not very hard for people to create an onion site. There is no particular evidence that any of the actual sites are authentic and human experimentation is anything more than a discussion on a forum. This is different from something like child porn, which can be proved to exist because there's actually a product, the picture sent, shared, and looked at by undesirables and pedophiles. Where there's no product like human experimentation, the site is really hard to prove as real. The act of experimentation is real, it's the sites that prove tricky. Human experimentation and organ trafficking form a small percentage of the total human trafficking incidences per year, and it's not as uncommon as you might have thought, with organs sold on the black market relatively common, particularly in Asian countries. Number 7. Now this tops the list of dark, nasty things we could find in the web, and for a very good reason. This site is all about cooking women, and it gives a very detailed guide on how to do exactly that. This isn't a slang reference to women being super hot. Oh no, it is real-life cooking of women. The butchery guide is particularly gruesome, with different cuts shown to work with different body types, and exactly how the cuts of meat should be prepared for the best results. Oh my. There is even information about how to go about cooking the woman to let her live as long as possible, despite being cooked. Not something you want to find on the web. Truly disturbing. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe.